Hello and welcome to the video on how to make the darkOps quad shield generator. Same process to make the small version as it is the larger counterpart, which is the 28mm version. So we'll get everything off the sprues and then I'll show you how to put this together to give you a nice piece of terrain for your gaming table. Okay, so let's familiarise ourselves with some of the components of the kit and how it goes together. So the only difference between the four generator sections is the two end pieces, the ones in the middle. The two in the middle are generally the same and the two on the ends are generally the same. So the end pieces come with a sort of blanking plate where you can put this assembly on here, and on the inside there's the mechanism that holds the flexible piece of MDF between it, and then the other generators slot in between. So the two end pieces have got different assemblies. Now those are these, so the blanking plate, and then you also put onto that this piece. It's all etched so you can see where it goes, and then you put on the final little studded cog end at the end on there. That's the only thing that's different. Both ends have got those on. The middle pieces here on the sides of the generators are those, and they've got the holes for the curved flexible MDF to go into. I'll show you that in a second. And that's held together by these. So you take one of these, you put the little sandwich piece in the middle, and you make a little tiny piece like that, where this, which will flex but will break if you put too much pressure in one place, it will flex into a curve and go in there. But first we're going to stick this together and show you how to do that. Okay, so that's glued, as you can see, all lined up. Just do it by hand. Take your flexible piece, and all you do is get the part where it's going to join at the bottom so you won't see it, and just very carefully bend it round and try and get it together. There should be a little bit of slack. Don't force it at any point. As you can see there, it's just ready to go through. There you go. So you should have a little gap at the bottom which is hideable. Now if you look at the shape of it, it isn't a perfect circle, so you get it in the middle, close as you can to the middle, and then you'll find if you pop out these middle sections and take the middle out, you can generally, without any glue, just pop one into each end if you like, and you will allow the piece to form a nice circle. There you go. So that gives it a bit of shape for you, and as you can see from the top there, when you're looking down on it you won't see the join anyway. And those pieces are the ones that sit in the bigger hole, and they've got to go in there like so. And then you'll have obviously it connected to another generator. That's why when we're assembling it, we're going to go from left to right or right to left. It's entirely up to you, but start on one end and work your way across, because you'll need to slot these in as you go. And what I find with this is if you push this up to one end a little bit, put a bit of glue on there, locate the middle piece into the hole, obviously with a bit of glue in there, and then you can just push that along and it locates into the generator, and then you can start on the next one, which will be one of these, which will go in there. And once you've got that piece in, you can start with the assembly of the generator. Now the first thing you must do, put these middle pieces in here, because they're quite tricky to slot in otherwise. And we've also got these which go into these sections, So they're the top parts. You must remember to put those in and put these in when we're doing the generator first, because you remember you struggle to get them in otherwise. The other pieces you'll find in the kit are these T-sections. Now they aren't actually part of the kit. All that they are is when you'll see when we get to these parts here where we're putting these together, you can put the T-sections in there like that, and then when you clamp it together like that to dry, it puts pressure on the panels to give you a nice join, but the T-sections keep the middle piece against the rim and gives you a nice finish. But once you finish the kit, just throw these T-sections away, because that's all they're for, just to make building it a bit easier, which is what we all like. Okay, so we'll just take a break for a second and then we'll come back with the parts on how to do the generator like this one. Okay, so we'll need 2 of these pieces, which are to give support for the flexible MDF, which will slot between them and sit nicely in there, as you've seen from the previous one. This little piece here sits in the slots, between the slots in the top, and just gives you nice, just basically a spacer, and the flexible MDF just sits on top of that. And then we'll need also, obviously, like I've just said before, we're going to need that one to start with, and then we'll need one of these behind it, and then it goes onto that one. And then when we've got all that assembly together with the flexible MDF, we're going to put the finishing sides to it. All the way through, don't forget to put these little pieces on, and they just slot in there like so. And don't forget to put these pieces down, because they just sit there and give you a nice finish. Okay, so we'll have a go at the first part, back in a second. Okay, so that was the next step. Put the little bracket in there, put this next piece on, and then now we're ready to do the main generator assembly. Okay, so as you see, it's all together. Didn't forget to put the pieces in, the little brackets on. Just going to slot the MDF in, and then we'll start clamping things up with the T-sections. There you go. So the T-sections are holding the 2 pieces of MDF apart and creating a nice seal, while the clamps are putting a bit of pressure on there. So you can see the basic process that we're going through. End caps on either side, obviously, and then working away along with the middle pieces, assembling the middle parts, putting the main generators on, rinse and repeat, same thing as we go along. So we'll do that now, and then we'll come back. Okay, so we've finished. So you should have a few spare pieces left over, like the T-sections and some of the middles that came out of some of the components. We only used a few of these inner circles, but the rest of them just be thrown away. So there we have it, the finished quad generator. Exactly the same process for this sort of small scale. You can use it for 6mm gaming, 10mm gaming like drop zone. You can use it on 15mm gaming. But essentially it's the same process of making the small one as it is the big 28mm one. I don't know if I've got one of those available. Let's just take a look. So there you go, there's the 2 together for a comparison. If you want a really large piece on your table, you go for the big sort of 28mm upwards, and it is a fair piece, or you go for the small one, whichever your table allows and whatever you feel like doing with it. But the assembly process is exactly the same. I'm only doing one video. I thought I'd do it on the smaller one, because if you do it on the smaller one, you do it on the bigger one, it's the same thing. So there you go, that's the quad shield generator, or just quad generator, by darkOps. And thank you for watching.